Chapter 197. Part 2 of 4. We appeared in Fluttershy's cottage. "All right, we're ready to move on to the next one," I immediately said. "Too bad," Payne replied. I sighed and finally looked around. There really wasn't much to see. Fluttershy was sitting on her couch with Angel, her evil rabbit. There weren't any other critters present. It was dark out, so she had probably just gotten back. "It's so quiet," Fluttershy whispered. "I miss the noise. All my little friends running about and playing." Her eyes turned blue as Flo took over. "You know Nav would allow you to have a few pets on the ship, as long as you didn't go overboard." "I couldn't take them from the forest," Fluttershy said. "Especially since it's so dangerous. I tried keeping a few birds around, but spider and caught." "Do you have any speculation about why you were targeted?" Flo asked. "I'm all alone out here next to the forest," she said. "Most of my pets are gone, and even if they weren't, no one else knows how to understand them. I should probably pack a few things and go to Ponyville like Nav suggested, but I can't seem to find the energy." "Applejack's farm is closer and she has plenty of rooms," Flo said. "She needs to know that she has a target on her back, too. She isn't as isolated, but if she goes out to one of the fields by herself, it would be easy to nab her." "Oh, I doubt anyone would target her," Fluttershy replied with a small smile. "She can defend herself. Not against magic. Rainbow Dash will also need to be warned, but her home is farther away, so it can wait until morning. I imagine Nav will warn Pinky and Rarity himself." "I really wish Nav had just stayed here tonight," Fluttershy whispered. "Yeah, well, he's too much of a coward to tell you the real reason he won't," Flo said. "He'd probably get mad if I told you, but I'm mad he kicked me out, so I'd be happy to explain if you want to know." That made Taya giggle. "I'd like to know as much about Nav as you're willing to tell me." "Good, because I know more about him than he does. To put it bluntly, Nav thinks he is pure, irredeemable scum and that you are a holy saint. In effect, you're way too good for anything he could ever become. Because of that, he's horrified that you like him and want to spend time around him, because he thinks all he can do is corrupt or scare you. What's worse is that he expects everyone to think the same." "That doesn't make any sense," Fluttershy said. "He's done so many great things." "Sure, he does worry me sometimes, but I could never be afraid of him. And I could never think that I was too good for anyone." "I didn't say it made sense," Flo said with a cute giggle. "I just said that's what he thinks. That's why he's scared of the idea of a relationship with you. He thinks it could only end in heartbreak, with you finally giving up on trying to fix him." "I already told him I was never interested in that." "Yet he didn't believe you. I'm going to let you in on another little secret. When you're talking with Nav, you need to remember that you aren't dealing with someone who's sane. His mental health has deteriorated a lot since he got here, and it wasn't very good to begin with. I know more about Nav than he does, but I still can't predict him half the time. Most water elementals can manipulate their hosts with ease, but there are times when nothing I do will sway his mind. This comes with the obligatory warning to do nothing to provoke him, obviously. Nav may have a different mind, but I don't think he's crazy." "I don't think he is, either," Flo said. "I know he is, and you can take my word for it. I know he won't do anything overtly dangerous in a place where it might get him in trouble, but he's started to enjoy killing." Fluttershy's ears twitched, even though Flo was in control. "I'm telling you these things for both of your sakes, Fluttershy. Forget about Nav. Deal with him as little as you can. Until he's less volatile, it's best you just avoid him." "I'm afraid I can't. If Nav is in pain, isn't it my responsibility as a friend to help him?" "Well, you're not my real host anyway, so let's try that again." Fluttershy's body went slack and Angel squeaked. She picked herself back up again quickly, though. "Forget about Nav. Deal with him as little as you can. I can't forget about him, but if you really think being around him would make things worse, maybe I could avoid him for a little while. That really set Angel off and he started squeaking up a storm. Well, until a droplet of water from Fluttershy hit him. He settled down and went to sleep, leaving Fluttershy none the wiser. So let's talk about more of Nav's secrets, Flo said as the memory went grey. How's that pure waifu of yours? My guide asked. What's a waifu? Taya asked. A naughty word, I immediately replied. Besides, the only one adorable enough to be a waifu is Blossom. I will absolutely admit that Flo did a few things I didn't approve of, like this and what she did to Kot. What did she do to Kot? Taya asked. Brainwashed her to be loyal to me. I thought it was an isolated incident, but apparently not. Why be mad if all she's doing is helping you? Reason asked. Everything she told Fluttershy was true, after all. Because brainwashing people is usually wrong unless they're actually dangerous. I said. I mean, am I still the only one who believes that? So why do you hate yourself? Taya asked. I guess I am. The deterioration of my mental health, Weren't you listening? I've been treated as worthless so many times that it seems to be how I feel all the time. Haven't we treated you like a pretty little lady enough to make you feel special yet? Taya asked. Maybe we need more dresses. So what's the takeaway from this one, aside from the fact that Flo freely tells my secrets and uses her spooky mind powers all willy-nilly? Or that Fluttershy is super depressing? Taya added. It's not nearly as much fun if you just say it yourself, Pain said. What's the point of us hanging around? Isn't that part of why I'm here? Taya asked. I'm supposed to help you figure all of this out, right? You are, I said, bopping her. Should you really trust Flo? Fear asked. You merely made her upset, yet she spilled some very deeply held secrets of yours. She's been in your head for 3 weeks now, Taya, I said. What do you think of her? She's super overbearing and hates fun almost as much as Twilight. Sometimes. That said, I have to expand my circle of those I actually trust further than just my daughters. Flo's one of the likelier candidates, if for no other reason than she already knows my secrets anyway. It's disheartening to know she's fine with sharing my secrets all willy-nilly and also brainwashing people without asking me first, but it's not like I'd expect anything less even from someone that I did trust. So you expect me to betray you at some point? Taya asked. I have low expectations of everybody, dear. It's not just you, don't worry. It's what comes from a lifetime of neglect and/or abuse. And after everything I've seen in this coma, I can safely say that my best bet for a happy life in Equestria would have been to kill myself the instant I got here, because that's the moment things started going downhill and nothing I could have done would have improved the situation more than marginally. Wow. Yet. The princesses started making plans for me as soon as they had enough information about me. By the time Luna tracked me down in Applejack's orchard, it was probably too late for me to get out of Equestria alive. But that's life, or whatever. Y'all got anything else to say about Fluttershy? Stop treating her like an object, Reason said. Fluttershy finds it really insulting. Despite her behavior, she is very much a living pony. Yeah, that part didn't really make sense, Taya said. Do you, idolize her or something? No, she's too much of a coward for that. But she's too nice, to the point where it's literally inhuman. I really didn't have a way to describe it until Athena told me that you ponies actually are different from humans. Fluttershy's a perfect example. To be honest, Twilight and all 5 of her friends are. That's probably part of why I could never adjust to life here. I was surrounded by super powerful fae who were fighting for me without even realizing it. Your relationship with Twilight's going well, Taya said. What's the difference between her and Fluttershy? Personality? Twilight had a general idea of what she wanted and she was happy to ask my help to get it. Fluttershy is, for the most part, a doormat. She has asked me to fingerbang her before, but that was after she got kidnapped, so her hormones were racing. It was also bad timing, because Celestia was waiting her turn in the other room. I thought you complained about mares ordering you around all the time, Taya said. Wouldn't the opposite of that be nice? I don't want to go from one pole to another. I don't want someone who wants to micromanage me to the point I can't make any decisions, and I don't want someone who's so afraid of disappointing me that I'd have to make all the choices. I want a mature adult who is willing to come to a reasonable compromise on things. Twilight's still having problems with that sometimes, but she's decent at it. To be honest, Moonbeam is probably the best at it. And Fluttershy would be terrible at it, Taya sighed. Adults are complicated, Mommy. Some of them. Those of us with issues are usually worse. It just so happens I have about 3 million words worth of them. What? You'll understand when you're older, I said, tousling her mane. I think we're done with this sad sack. Let's move forward. As you desire, my guide said. Her eyes did their thing, taking us away. The two of us ended up in the middle of a deep forest meadow. Fancy Pants and Fleur were standing in the middle, next to one of my paintings. Spookily enough, I could hear chanting in the woods. What is this? Fleur asked. I didn't know Navarone painted. Navarone does many things, Fancy said. Paints, explores, writes. Probably more. He writes. Fleur slowly said. Books on what? How best to murder ponies. Well, he says he translates, like what he did with this painting. Apparently he copies human books and has them published here in Equestria. At the last gala, I made a deal with him to help sell his art. Would you happen to know any of the books he's penned? Fleur slowly asked. Indeed I do. I trust that none of this will be used in your petty feud. Of course not. Nav is dangerous. I'll stick to low-level tactics. Tell me what he wrote. That made Fancy grin. You've already read most of them, I believe. In fact, you were the one who first introduced me to them, the works from another world. Although it's more accurate to say they're from another time. Oh. I see. He's a lot more valuable as an ally than an enemy, Fleur, Fancy said. I actually went back in time with him and was able to see that clear as day. I'd like to bring him even closer, but it's difficult when my wife is feuding with him. He threatened to slit my throat and leave me to rot in a ditch. And he didn't do it, did he? Do you think it was because he couldn't? Fleur snorted. He's got Celestia's eye. He can do whatever he wants, murdering me included. Luckily for you, that's not what he wants. Look at this painting, Fleur. She sighed and looked up at it. It's a human masterpiece. He can make them in hours and they're ready to be sold within a day. His books are like this, too. If he wanted, he could have more money than I do. In fact, if he wanted, I'd wager he could get a lot more power, too. He doesn't have time for you as his enemy. Forget your feuding with him, Fleur. He'd steamroll you in a heartbeat. I can't just surrender, but I can talk. If this is the kind of quality he can guarantee, it's worth peace. I'll head to the palace to speak with him. Thank you, Fleur. Nav is a friend well worth having, so I recommend putting the effort in. Oh, I've heard plenty about him. I've seen him several times, too. It's about time I sat down and had a true talk with him, then. Good. Canterlot needs more friends, not rivals. Although if you were planning on trying to use him. Don't. I'll just leave it at that. This is Canterlot. We all use each other to survive. I have a feeling he's better at surviving than most. Don't you worry about me, Fancy, Fleur said with a small smile. I'm just going to have a chat. With that, The memory went grey. So why her? Taya asked. Why her? What, exactly? Why would you pick that conniving bitch? Taya asked, a bit more directly. Alright, you're going to need to back it up even further. If I don't know what you're talking about, I can't answer your question. Would you like to phrase that differently? It's a pretty simple question, Taya said. You have your pick of women, mommy. So why would you choose the one you know is a lying, manipulative bitch? You said it yourself, I replied with a grin. I have my pick of women, so my only options are lying, manipulative bitches. If her being a liar or manipulative are your only issues with her, she's still ahead of some of her competition. So why do you hate her? She was only attracted to you for your power. That's why she latched her claws in so tightly. You realize that you agreed to compete in a beauty pageant for her, right? Can you not see that she's only using you? Yeah, using me to do the thing I ask her to do, I said. I was the one who pitched the idea to her to begin with. I knew as soon as I made the recommendation that one way or another, I was going to be involved. I was resigned to that. I didn't want to be a competitor, but my life is suffering, so whatever. So after everything you said about how sleeping with me might ruin our reputation, you'd go and marry the canterlet bicycle? Even some of your guards have had turns with her. Marrying a used mare is still a little higher on the totem pole than molesting my filly, actually. Fleur's number of partners does make her less of an appealing marriage candidate, though. Especially now that I'm going for the world conquest route. Fleur would make a great mistress, though. World conquest route. Taya slowly said. Yep, I decided we're going to take over the world. I'm not quite sure what that will entail yet, but I think it'll involve marrying into a royal family. That said, Fleur is still going to be very valuable. When did you decide that? Taya asked. I'm not quite sure, to be honest, I replied. But it's been building in me since I got into the coma. I've seen so much bullshit, so much arrogance, so much, that I didn't want to see. And I decided that I didn't quite like what I saw. Not one bit. You know it just as much as me, Taya, this world is just waiting to get conquered. We have all the power at our fingertips now. Celestia's under my control. We have the ship from the bunker that we can use to harvest resources. I honestly feel like with it, we could wage the final war. The final war, she slowly said. I want Tartarus to be so much of a smackdown that nobody will ever dare stand in my way. It will be my warning to the world. Submit, or end up as it did. So what happens if we lose? Who cares? The two of us can't die. If shit goes haywire, we'll just ditch everyone and live together in the woods forever. Besides, if anything in Tartarus was dangerous enough for me to worry about, it would have unified Tartarus and be threatening us. It's literally just a huge sitting duck we can use to terrify everybody on the planet, since everyone knows what that place is. If we can be at the head of the army that pacifies Tartarus, we basically have the world on a platter. I'm sure that's what all the other crazy generals thought, Taya said. Do you seriously think no one has tried attacking Tartarus before? I highly doubt anyone's tried funding a serious expedition into Tartarus. Most people would think it's suicidal. But most people don't have the information that I have. Remember the vision with the Alphans we had a few minutes ago? We know they're working as some manner of stabilizing presence in Tartarus, along with a few other races and Groger. That means not everything there is hostile. I'm going to see what I can do about contacting the Alphans before we enter Tartarus, so we can get even more information. But don't think for an instant that I'm planning on just going in there blind, Taya. I am thoroughly confident that, given the power and resources of Celestia, Moonbeam, and the Griffins, I will absolutely demolish Tartarus. So, world domination. Nice. Does that mean I don't need to convince you not to marry Fleur? You don't, I said. I've decided I'm going to be royalty. Which also means Twilight's off the table, I'm afraid. I understand. But she can still be a mistress too, right? The way my life is going, probably. We've gotten way off topic. So what was the point of showing us Fleur? Finally ready to pay attention to us? Pride asked. Sorry, she was being needy, I said. Please, by all means. This time, we were joined by Pride and Reason. I haven't actually seen Spike yet, Taya said. So who are you? Pride, he proudly replied. How is this the first time I've seen you? Mommy lives and dies for her weird pride. She does her best to hide me. I think she might be ashamed. Ashamed of your pride? Reason said. That doesn't even make sense. Anyway, we're here to discuss your image, basically. Which image is that? I ask. The kind of image you'll need if you seriously want to conquer the world, Pride said. You can't seriously expect to do it the way you are, can you? Nope, that's why I'm here. If you're talking about my whole overall negative and combative demeanor, I'm over that. Fleur had a negative opinion of you for a reason, Pride said. That's true, Reason said. If it weren't for the weird influence you have on everyone, you honestly wouldn't have any friends. Nobody would have taken the time to get to know you because you would have driven them all away. If you're planning to eradicate your pull, you need to make yourself a person others actually want to be around. Not necessarily, I said. I just need to be someone people can tolerate. You need to be someone you can be proud of, Pride very stereotypically said. Sure, why not? So who should that be? You're not making this easy on us, Reason said. And telling me mindless platitudes isn't making it easy on me. I'm in here for super mystical inner truth bullshit. Telling me to be someone I'm proud of is fucking worthless. I could just pull open the laptop and watch Bob Ross or something. We can't make you be someone you're not, Reason said. All we can do is point you towards being who you want. Basically what he means is you need to stop being a complete asshole to everyone you meet for no reason. You also need to stop provoking people for no reason. And you need to stop instigating fights. And derailing conversations. Basically, there's just so much about you that needs a complete overhaul that it's really much easier for him to just say what he said. And since you've been living like you have for so long, it'll be hard to stop being a complete piece of shit. But unless you want more enemies like Fleur, without your pull to stop them, you need to unfuck yourself. Thank you, that makes it much easier to understand. So basically, it's all a bunch of stuff I've already decided to work on. I recognize that I have an image problem. I'm going to rectify it. I hope so, Pride said. It would be nice to go for a walk in Canterlot without hearing all those whispers, wouldn't it? I'm going to hear them regardless. But I'd rather them be friendly than hostile. You aren't very nice to yourself, Taya said. Is this really how it is all the time in your head? Look at who I am as a person. Did you expect it to be normal? I think we're ready to move on. Fake Flo's eyes lit up and we moved on to the next one. This time, we saw me and Twilight sitting in front of the dream statue thing. Twilight's horn was plugged into it and we were both absorbed by the machine. This is when I attuned Twilight to the dream thingy, I said. We also set it to work on everything, not just ponies. Why? Taya asked. Wait, what? Taya said. That made me blink and I looked down. Sure enough, there were two identical Tayas next to me. Whoa. One of them is me. Cool. I'm glad I got your body, Hope said with a giggle. She picked me up for a hug a few memories ago and it felt amazing. Right? So you've gotta be love, right? Nope. I'm Hope. Oh, that makes sense. She smiled and looked up at me. Ah, I'm your Hope. Of course, you're my filly, I said, tousling her mane. So, are you over yourself for the moment? Not yet. She started walking around and poking Hope's body here and there. Doppel won't pretend to be me, so it's hard to see myself from other angles. Keep talking and do your thing, don't mind me. K. So why did you spread dreams to everyone, Navi? It felt like the right thing to do. Everyone should dream. It allows everyone to experience a world of their own creation. You can have a surprising amount of control over your dreams, if you do it properly. After some advice, Rarities become an incredibly active dreamer. If you get good enough at it, you can build entire adventures every night. Everyone should have that. What about nightmares? Hope asked. Yeah, they suck. But they usually help you identify things in your life that need to be unfucked. Plus, the dream machine is tuned for good dreams, so there shouldn't be many nightmares. What do you think dreams are? She asked. Some form of semi-magical pseudo-consciousness that's linked to all other dreaming minds. The dream machine finds a way of tapping into that underlying dream network and allowing people attuned to it to see into the dreams of others. So that would make dreams aspects of the soul, she asked. It might. I'm honestly not sure. Where are we going with this? I was gonna lead to it, but I guess I can skip ahead. You can use this machine to kill everyone on the planet. It must be destroyed before you bring any humans forward in time. Well yeah, that goes without saying, I replied. Wait, why? Taya asked. How can dreams kill anyone? We didn't tell anyone this for a reason. Right now, you're the third to know. It's possible to use the dream machine to make someone sleep until they die. If I wanted to, I could kill everybody on the planet. That was my ultimate fail-safe plan against Celestia. Whoa! Does it work on the monsters in Tartarus? It's going to be with me on the front lines, I said. If it does work on them, the fights will be even more one-sided. If it doesn't work on them, then I can use it to make all our soldiers have good dreams. It's a win either way. I can't imagine Luna knew. So was it Twilight? If Luna knew about this, she would have used it against Celestia ages ago. I discovered this with Twilight's help. Basically, it means the humans can use this machine to control all of you guys. But it works on humans too, right? Taya asked. Like, you could use it against them instead, right? Sure I can, now. But admin privileges can be revoked. If anyone else manages to gain control over that thing, there would be a problem. If we're going to bring humans forward in time, it's gonna have to go. Then you gotta get me admin privileges, Taya said. Twilight's told me some stories and I want in. Not gonna happen, I said. You'd get in way too much trouble. Anyway, none of what you just said sounded too hopeful. Why are you the one here for this and not Reason? There were those who dreamed before the machine was turned on, Hope said. And the machine itself had to be constructed in some way. Your hope is that you can figure out how before you have to destroy it. If you know how it was built, you might be able to figure out just what dreams are. Or maybe you have to figure out what dreams are to find out how to build it. I'm not really sure, to be honest. That's not very helpful, Taya said. Is this really how strong your hope is, Mommy? I hope you can do better than that, I said with a smile. I was gonna tell you where to start looking, but I don't know if I want to anymore. I know what'll make you feel better, I said, picking Hope up for another warm hug. My real filly huffed in jealousy while the fake one in my arms giggled and hugged back. See how satisfied and cute you look. I can see that, Taya said, rolling her eyes. I could already feel the mania coming, so I let the fake filly go. There, how about that? Much better. I'll overlook your terrible pun for now. You met a dream demon, didn't you? I did. I guess that would be a good place to start. It seems to have similar abilities. Be wary. It could also lock minds away. Trust me, I know. So when did you meet a dream demon? Taya asked. And, where? In the Mage Tower, after we beat Pertz. Celestia asked me to come back to clear out some demons. The Dream Demon was one of them. It locked me in a nightmare that I escaped with Flo's help. You have way too much fun without me, mommy. Sometimes. So, do we have anything else to talk about here? You do custom dreams, right? Taya asked. Sometimes. We can always play around in them later. Cool. So what's to stop the humans from just building another one of these machines? Hopefully, not knowing how. I know I can get a stable wormhole to the Google bunker right before the war. They wouldn't have made the dream machine by then, so they wouldn't know how. I was also going to try to pick up more humans from other areas and times, if we could manage it. So if they wouldn't know how to make the machine, why would they know how to work it? Taya asked. You don't really need to destroy it, do you? I'd rather not risk it falling into their hands. If they can reverse engineer it, they can make their own. Better to make sure the device is gone before it becomes a possible problem. Whatever, I guess, she said, hanging her head. Yeah, dreams are totally neato. But if not dreaming is the price to pay for being able to wake up, I'd say most people would pay it. True. So, we're good to go, I said with a nod. Let's kick it, fam. My guide's eyes lit up and we moved forward in time. End of part 2.